Okay, I hate this tapestry behind me, but this is like the only place that I have to film. Hello, my name is Briar. Welcome back to my motivation journey update number 3, 2, 2.5, 3, something, I don't know. But today's video, I want to talk about my motivation, and I noticed in my self-reflection recently something that has stopped me from doing my writing in the past, that I've had a mindset shift and it doesn't stop me now. So in my last video on my motivation, I was talking about how I've rediscovered my love of writing middle grade and writing middle grade fantasy specifically. Specifically my middle grade science camp fantasy, which I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. But in my last video, I rediscovered my love for this genre, and that really ignited my motivation to continue writing and continue working even when I have chaos going on in my life. Like, I just moved. I have been living in my new apartment for a week. My bookshelf is a box on a coffee table. You know, life is chaos. In my travels, I completed my reread and note-taking on my most up-to-date draft of my middle grade fantasy. I discovered that there's a lot that needs to be fixed in my characters are not consistent, my magic is not consistent, and things are just, you know, weird because I wrote the first draft in a month, and this more updated draft I rewrote probably in about 2 months. Like, I haven't spent a lot of time dedicated to this story. And in my reread, I came up with a lot of things that need to be fixed, mostly around the magic system and the world building of that magic system. There's a lot of questions. And in the past, I would have done what I've done to this point, which is write out all of those questions, make notes about how things can be improved, and I would have looked at all those notes and been completely overwhelmed. Completely overwhelmed. And I would have felt like I had to answer every question before I could start my next draft. I would have felt like if I'm not getting all of this done, then I am failing at writing the story, and it's just not worth it because it's going to take more time to work on answering these questions than it is to just start a new story and make that one better. And that would have killed my motivation to continue writing, and it would have killed my motivation to write anything. And I would have gone months before picking up the pencil or pen or typewriter again. And I would just shelve it and shelve everything and panic and freak out and run away. But I have definitely grown since the last time I tried to do a major revision, because at this point I see all of these questions and I know that there is no way I'm going to be able to journal and thought exercise and explore all of this to a satisfactory endpoint before I write my next draft. And I'm not going to be able to incorporate all of the answers that I make into my next draft. And that's okay. And I know that's okay because I was listening to an author talk recently. I will try to figure out who it was because I have the memory of goldfish. I will find it in my notebook and put whoever it was that was saying this in the description. But they said, when you're writing your first draft, you don't need to expect it to be good. It's a first draft. No one expects it to be perfect. And I'm taking that, running with it as far as I can, because I'm not writing my first draft. I'm probably writing my third, because I can't count and I didn't keep track of drafts. But I'm probably starting my third draft of this story, and I'm gonna run with that. It's just a third draft. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not expecting it to be perfect, which is the most important thing. I'm not expecting to have all of the answers to all of my questions about magic and world building and characterization. I'm not expecting to have all of that done and perfect in draft number 3. I just need to make it better. I just need to make this new draft that I'm going to completely rewrite from 0 words. I'm going to make this draft better than draft 2. And then draft 4 will be better than draft 3. And so on and so forth until I have something that is complete to my satisfaction. And maybe I'll never have something complete to my satisfaction, but complete to my satisfaction to the point where I'm not embarrassed to show it anymore. Because dear God, draft 2, rereading that has just shown me how much I've grown as a writer, because that was, I mean, honestly, it wasn't that bad. There was just a lot of inconsistencies in my characterization, in my rules for magic, in my expectations of my character and my world. It's just, anyway, so what I am going to do now is I am going to do my best to answer as many questions as I can about my characters and build out the world of magic, because how magic is interacting with my main characters is probably the biggest plot point and the biggest driver of external plot in this story. So those are things that I need to know the answer to before I write my next draft, because it's going to influence every part of the draft. It's going to influence every character, every setting, every plot point needs to be influenced by the history of magic in this world. So I need to build that out, but I don't need to do it perfectly. I don't need to answer every question that came to my mind as I was rereading. I don't need everything to be perfect. I can still play. I can still explore. I got an idea for a character's relationship to build in this side character more strongly, and that doesn't have to stay like locked in fact for this story forever. I can play with it in this draft, and if I don't like it, I can write it out of the next one. Because what I have learned about myself through a lot of self-reflection is that I am very patient with my writing. I've not always been, but at this point in my life I am. I am very patient. I don't need to have a completed draft to share with the world by the end of 2023. Would I love to? Yes. I would love to share this story as soon as possible. But as soon as possible doesn't have an end date. As soon as possible is as soon as I can possibly finish it to my satisfaction, or mostly to my satisfaction. It doesn't have to be perfect, again, because think about all of your favorite stories and you've probably got some issues with the world building or the plot or some plot armor or Deus Ex Machina or something. And that's fine. It just has to be better than it is. And I know I can write something better than what it currently is if I spend a little bit of time world building. I don't need to spend the next month finding all the answers to every question. I don't need to make it perfect. I don't need to spend hours and days and months and years working on this. I can get started on it now. And that is freeing to me. I don't need to have all the answers. I just need to make it better. And making it better in baby steps is better than shelving it and ignoring it for 2 years and forgetting why I love it. So yeah, what I've learned about myself right now in my motivation journey is that I can be motivated by having questions, but I don't need to let it stop me if I don't have all the answers. So don't let having questions about your story stop you from writing. Write it, explore it, find the joy in not having the answers and see where that takes you, because that's the current next step on my journey, is exploring, having fun, and not holding myself to some really high standard that I'm incapable of reaching. I'm holding myself to the standard of making it better because I know that I can and I know how to. I just need to, sit down and tackle it and not spend a week thinking about it without making any actionable steps towards doing it. Yes, I'm going to be working on building out the world of my novel for the rest of June. July is Camp NaNoWriMo once again, and I'm going to be working on rewriting everything. And I'll have another video about my Camp Nano goals and how I am approaching that for July's Camp Nano and what's going to be different from April's Camp Nano, because it's going to be different. And this is not the end of this motivation series, because while I have discovered I am very patient in my writing and I don't need to have all the answers, and I am allowing myself to know that I have to write multiple drafts of this story to make it the best that it can be, I have also discovered what might be another problem. And that problem is time. Because I just said, I'm super patient. I will let myself work on this story and write draft after draft after draft. And I'm very patient about when it will be released into the world, because I will let it out and publish it when it is ready. And there's no time frame on that. And one thing that I've learned from following Sarah Cannon's HB90 for almost 2 years now is that time is a really important metric to, if you're not following it exactly, to at least have some vague knowledge around and have some end goal, because just working on it is great. Yes, that is probably my biggest end goal at the moment, but I don't have any way of tracking my progress towards completing this, because it's just keep making it better and I'm improving it constantly. But that doesn't mean that I know when I'm done, and I don't have a goal to push me to get it done by any certain time. And that is not a problem for me at this moment, but I easily foresee that being a problem for me a couple months down the line, when suddenly something else sparks my attention and me and my ADHD brain just go, ooh, shiny, and completely abandon this project because I don't have any end goal date for it. So that's something that I'm going to be tackling and trying to figure out if time can be something motivating for me. If time can be something that will help me be more consistent. If having a time-based goal is motivation for me personally. Because I've tried it before in the past and it's hard for me to figure out. But anyway, that's a problem for future Briar. Right now, I'm going to get working on figuring out how I'm going to tackle this project for the next couple weeks and what I'm going to be doing for July's Camp NaNoWriMo. Be on the lookout for that video. It will be next either Monday or Thursday. I'm trying to get back into my Monday and Thursday upload schedule. However, I just moved to a new apartment and everything is chaos. So working on it. Thank you so much. I have been a rambly mess and I hope this is motivational to someone else as well, because it's certainly a motivational journey for me. Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video.